Govindaaya namo namaha. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupapadameyam Dadati Supadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamshta Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijanasahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshnaaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamani Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschattareshatarini Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratse Namah He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanuste Devi Pranamami Haripri Vanchakalpatarungasya Kripa Sindhubheva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. We welcome all of you for again the discussion on Canto 2. The topic is Purusha Yukta confirmed. Actually, there is so much of themes, materials to discuss. If at all devotees they attend it very, very seriously. Somehow or the other, devotees are if you sit with your book, with your pen, with your notes, then there is a lot of material to be given. But if you are idling out, or if you prioritize it as a okay, चाहिए कोर्स मेरे लिए, इतना प्रचार हम कर रहे, ना गाइड कर रहे, तो just for course you want to just put attendance, then what happens is the amount of themes and material which I have to give, then I think, okay, why? Anyways, it's difficult to explain because it's the stuff of second canto is very technical. And what Purushukta we chant during the Yagyas, I thought like that. Anyways, why? Because devotees hardly have time, they work. Do they have to go in so much depth to understand this theme of Bhagavata? Then I understood, no, it doesn't matter whether all of you want this knowledge, but as a part of teaching, I need to do justice for this theme. Therefore, then I thought, let me not cut it off. Let me again completely discuss, make a comparative analysis of Purushukta of Vedas with Bhagavatam shlokas. Whoever is eager to take notes or understand or want to really teach in future, at least they will get the information, not only just information, knowledge, which is coming in the Acharya's commentaries and which I have learned from my teachers. So, one input as a primary teacher for all of you. Somebody is really very, very serious to teach this in her group, then attend this series of sessions very, very attentively and make notes, because this will help our learning of Bhagavatam. And once we learn, we can also share with other devotees. Generally, first canto, we learn it very enthusiastically. When it comes to second canto, third canto, lot of physics, chemistry, that kind of creation, secondary creation, they start coming in. So then it becomes a little difficult. But still, in ISKCON, devotees have made a lot of efforts to make PPTs, to make presentations, to teach in such a way that it's understandable. Detail we may not understand, at least principle wise we should understand it. Then what will happen is at least we can try to discuss it with when you complete the Bhakti Vaibhav course, you are in a position at least to study it in a nice way. Not all of you may want to teach it or want to teach it, or you want to just relish it. So Bhakti Yoga course has two facets. One thing is, anyway, Prabhupada books, Bhagavatam, we have read, but we want to know connections, flows, commentaries of some of the acharyas. Second thing, we want to complete the course so that we want to take it for our group. Third thing is just relish it. Anyway, Bhagavatam reading is not happening. Let us at least read it during the course, because modern day time, everything is so tight. So what I feel is, whenever I give session, I have an eye on all devotees. How many of you are attending? How many of you are attending for reading and just switching up the videos? So after this second canto, I'm going to make it, not I, the ISKCON Board of Examination is going to make it very, very strict. Those who are available, stationed, um, are not, whatever it is. It's not if we, with your videos on, you can attend. If you're just attending and switching off the videos and just pushing off for some other seva, for some other preaching program, or whatever it, I have nothing to do with it. Then from third canto onwards, we are not going to take it in attendance. And from the second canto, from this section, what unit I'm taking, I'm not going to allow for any of the exams if you are switching off your videos. So this is very, very strict. If you want to do it from MIHG, VIHG, from other universe, Bhakti Vaibhav, we can do it, but not from BVRV Pune with switched off attendance. So I have made it very clear. So and when I give unit, I keep on taking attendance screenshots at 2:30, at 3, at 3:30, at 4, at 4:30. And whatever Anushpo gives, that's fine. But what I have screenshot, I am going to utilize it as attendance for your unit test and your shloka test. Without that, I'm not going to allow you to attempt any unit test. And if whenever exams are coming up, if you are not joining the Zoom and you are simply giving the exam and just sending the uploading the thing, that is also not allowed according to the exam board of ISKCON board of examination. So we're just instruments trying to facilitate all of you. We don't need any big number here. Even if there are 5-6 devotees in the group, I'm ready to facilitate this group if we are very, very serious. Otherwise, if you want to make it wishy-washy, you don't want to prioritize it, this is not a place. You will not be allowed to attend the exams. You will not be allowed to give the shloka test. And what I'm trying to do is, the shloka test will not be scheduled separately. As soon as the class ends at 4:30, 4:30 to 4:15, 4:40, 15 minutes, whatever 10 shlokas are there, I'm going to take it after every unit. I'm personally going to take it. Because online shloka test means either you have to close your eyes or you have to see away from the screen and try to see. We are not telling that we don't trust all of you, but that is what the mandate. iBox has made it as at least 2 cameras compulsory. And those who are sitting with 2 names, single name, please make sure you are visible. If you're not visible, I'm not going to put it as attendance. Okay, so let's start with today's session, which brings us to Purushukta. So what is the meaning of Purushukta? At one point in the paragraph, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions that this is Purushukta confirmed. Mostly it is somewhere in 18th verse, I feel. 16th, 17th, 18th, somewhere in the between. So we'll just have the recap of this second canto, 6th chapter, 5th and 6th. The second canto is divided into 3 parts. The first part is what is already discussed by our Keshav Nimai Prabhu. Yeah, this is the part. So first part, party consists of chapter 1 to 3, superiority of Bhakti Yoga. Yes, so many things, many details are there. So this is the first part, superiority of Bhakti Yoga. Akama sarva kama moksha kama udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena yajate purusham param. The second part is Parikshit Maharaj asks the question in the 4th chapter, 6 to 8 verse. Explain me in detail Sarga and Visarga. Then Sukadeva Goswami offers series of prayers and he starts describing Sarga and Visarga. So Sukadeva Goswami is quoting, coming in Parampara. He's not speaking anything from his side. He's just speaking it, whatever he has heard from his predecessor Acharyas. So he's quoting Brahma Narada Samvada. And the 5th chapter and 6th chapter, these 6 questions which are asked by Narada, to Brahma. So Brahmaji answers this. So regarding Sarga and Visarga, Parikshit Maharaj is quoting Brahma Narada Samvada. Narada is asking the 6 questions. Yad Rupam, Yad Adhishtanam, Yad Srishtam, Yatcha, ingredients, Yat Samstam, where it merges, and Yat Param, on what it depends. So all the 6 questions is asked in 252 is answered in 5th and 6th chapter. So already we discussed 2514. That is the characteristics we discussed there in 2515, 16, and 31, which we are going to start from today. Who is the shelter of the universe? Yat Adhishtanam. So that comes. So today we are going to start from 2630. So 31. So that is the answer for second question, Yat Adhishtanam. And third question, Yat Srishtam. You have seen it at length in the last Saturday's class. Karana Srishti, the cause, and the Karya Srishti. So Karana Srishti is description of creation of elements. It is Karana Srishti. And Lord binds, assembles elements and enters into his Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So that is Karya Srishti. So that we discussed in last Saturday's class. And then in the question 4, we started in the last Sunday, Yatcha. We started the 6th chapter fresh. So that gives answer that Lord is a material cause and he's effective cause. Material cause means he hands-on from scratch. He creates all the ingredients. And then effective cause means he is as a CEO taking care of the whole universe. So Brahma substantiates this whole thing that Lord is material cause in chapter 6. Then till 30, these both are discussed, that Lord is efficient cause, Lord is a material cause. Then from in the chapter 5th and 6th, especially in shlokas 41, 42, 43, 44 of the 6th chapter, where it merges, that is discussed. Basically today's discussion will be on where what it merges into. Yat Samstam, that is 2.5 to 6, Narayana. So it merges in Narayana, basically in this navel. And what it depends, it is already described in 2515, Narayana. So almost 5 questions are answered till now. The 6th question, Yat Samstam, that is here in this tabular, it is question 5. It will be discussed today in the remaining 30, 40, 12 shlokas. We will be discussing it today. So with this, with our lesson plan, we will just try to compare the Vedic Purusha Sukta with Bhagavatam. So this is 6th chapter. The formula Vedas we had showed you. So basically, Brahma is telling the answer to the question 4, Yatcha. So Lord is both the material and effective cause. So from the various limbs of Garbhodaksha, Vishnu arose various limbs of the universal form and various parts of the universe. So this goes from 6.1. So we have seen this table: gross organ, Adibhuta, subtle organ, Adhyatma, sense Devata, Adideva. Sense object is also Adibhuta. For Karna, it is Shrotra, Dig Devatas, and Shabda. So from the Lord subtle sense organ arise elements and Tanmatra, and from the Lord's place of organ arises sense Devata, subtle sense organ in the Virata Rupa. So therefore, basically, for shloka number 1 to 12, it speaks about the same thing, same theme. From the various limbs of Garbhodaksha Vishnu arose various limbs to universal form. From 13 onwards, it speaks about whatever existed in the past, whatever exists in the present, and whatever exists in future is covered by the Lord. Basically, Lord is the background, all the species. Then in the coming shloka, here, so this is hope you are able to see this slide. Is it visible? I should make it big.
It was visible, Prabhuji. Incredible.
Yes. So this shloka is shloka number 13 of our Bhagavatam. 13, 14. Yeah, this shloka number 16. In your, if you have the Prabhupada Bhagavatam, Canto 2, 5th chapter, 6th chapter, 16th verse. What it says? Sarvam Purusha Dev Evedam Bhutam Bhavyam Bhavachayat Tenedam Avritam Vishwam Vitastim Aditishtati. So this is from Bhagavatam, which is a Nyaya Sutra according to the Vedic analysis. And what comes in Purushutta, Shruti mantra? Sahasra Shirsha Purusha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat Sa Bhumim Vishvato Vritva Atyatishtat Dashangulam Purushaye Vedam Sarvam Yadbhutam Yachabhavim. So if you make the comparative analysis of this, the first paragraph of Purushutta prayer, after the first para, the second para, first two line, is matching with the 16th verse of the 6th chapter. Above is the Bhagavatam verse, below is the Purushutta prayer, which we recite during the Vedic sacrifices. So we see here, Sarvam Purusha Evedam. And here also it comes, Purusha Evedam Sarvam. That's matching. Then Bhutam Bhavyam Bhavachayat. Then what is here? Yad Bhutam Yacha Bhavyam. So basically, from the Lord, all the living entities. See here, the last 16th verse. Sarvam Purusha Evedam Bhutam Bhavyam Bhavachayat Tenedam Avritam Vishwam Vitastim Aditishtati. So whatever existed in the past, whatever existed in the present, and whatever will exist in the future, Bhutam Bhavyam Bhavachayat, is covered by the Lord. Tene Idam Avritam. He extends beyond the universe by 10 fingers. Vishwam Vitastam Adhishtati. Basically, the whole material world comes under the grip of Lord Vishnu. What is the meaning of 10 fingers? Means it's like in his hand. The whole universe, the whole creation is the hand of Lord Vishnu. So that is the significance of this. So most of the Abhishek, when Abhishek is happening, or when yajnas, especially when sacrifices are happening, Narsinga Yajna, or any of the yajnas of Vaishnavas, this is recited. So that means that the whole universe has sprung from Lord Vishnu himself. So everything which is in the universe, it has to be utilized in his service for his pleasure. He is the actual enjoyer. So the next thing which is there, it comes here. Yes. So amritasya vaishesho martyam annam yadatyagat mahimaisha tado brahman purushasya duratyaya. So basically, this speaks about the spiritual bliss a living entity can experience beyond the material world. The verse summary is that beyond this material world, so Lord is not just the Lord of the material world, but is also the Lord of the spiritual bliss. Same thing comes in the another part of the Purushukta continuation. उत्तममृतावशेषानो यद अनेना तिरोहति एतावानस्य महिमा अत्योजयंश्च पुरुषः. So here in the last line, last two lines of 18th verse, Mahimasya tato brahman purushasya duratteha. So what is Mahimasya ato brahman? Mahima means beyond this material world, there is another world, which is the glory of the Lord, where there is only spiritual bliss. You see the translation is there. Brahman, he is a Lord of spiritual bliss. Beyond material existence, sa amritasya abhayasya isha. Because he surpasses material happiness. Yad martya annam atyagat. The power of the Supreme Lord is unlimited. Esha purushasya mahim duratya. So same thing is coming. Etavan asya mahima ato jayamscha purushaha. Basically, is not only just the Lord of the material world, but he's also the Lord of the spiritual world, and his potency is unlimited. So therefore, this chapter is called as Purushukta confirmed. So next 19th verse. Padeshu sarvabhutani pumsastiti pado vidu amritam kshemam avyam trimurdno dhyayimurdasu. What is symptom? What is symptom of the jivas in the spiritual world? Amritam kshemam abhayam. That is the symptom. Eternity, absence of sickness, absence of fear of committing offense. Where it comes in Purushukta, Padosya Vishwabhutani Tripadasya Amritam Divi. So basically, Amritam, that place is eternity, which spiritual world is a place of eternal. This is reflected, 19th verse is reflected in this section of the Purushukta, whose feet protects all places. So Padosya Vishwabhutani. So only by the shelter of the Lord, the living entities are protected. That is what it is saying. Yes. So next, we have covered 19th, 20th. Padastrayo bhishchashan aprajanam ya ashramaha antastrilokasyatva paro grahamedo bhradvrata. So who is qualified to enter the spiritual world? Aprajanam ya ashramaha. Those who practice spirituality by following. When you practice spirituality, the celibacy is encouraged. Whether it is brahmachari or grihasthas, grihastha brahmachari, brahmacharis, both are basically till the time one doesn't rise above the bodily conception of life and engage in Krishna service, one cannot. That is meaning of aprajanam. Then the grahamedo abrahat vrataha. Those who don't follow this regulative principle, they stay in the material world to get 84 lakh specie. So again in Purushukta where it comes, Tripada urdva uddeta purushaha. Urdva. So who gets opportunity to rise above? Urdva. Those who are aprajana are not abrahad but brahad vratas. One who has determination to follow strictly the principle of regular principle of material life, especially attachment with the opposite sex, and focusing on bhakti, one cannot transcend this material world. While liberated souls reside in the spiritual realm, the material world is occupied by materialist divide of bhakti. Pado seha bhavat punaha. So those who could not, they again come back. Punaha, 21st verse. Shruti vichakrame
What is
vishwam
Sripad?
sasana nasane gube yad avidya cha vidya cha purushastva tuvashrayah. So what Purushukta? This sashane anabhasane, that enjoyment and liberation is both possible The jiva, qualified by ignorance and knowledge, wanders on two paths. What is that? Pravritti, nivritti. For attaining enjoyment and liberation. Sasana, enjoyment. Anasane is liberation. The Lord is the shelter of both the paths. Nivritti marg, pravritti marg. So same thing is repeated here in the Blue Purushupta. Tato vishvam vyakramat. Tato vishvan vyakramata sasana sane abhi. So one can. Sasana sane. Sasana, enjoyment. Anasane is liberation. Jiva qualified by ignorance wanders on the path of enjoyment, while the Jiva endowed with the knowledge wanders on the path of liberation. The Lord is shelter of both the paths. So this 21st verse is confirming this Tato Vishwam Vyakramata Sasanasane Abhi. So Lord is attached to the material world, he is detached from the material world, but is attached to the spiritual world. Therefore, yes, maintains material world, but he stays in the spiritual world with all his parshadas, with the parshadas. This is 22. So this is how it goes on. So for 24, 26 we have seen Brahmaji assembles ingredients in for sacrifice, and then by using the assembling all the ingredients needed for sacrifice, he performs sacrifice. So 29th verse. Rataste भ्रातराई me prajanam patayo nava ayajan vyaktam avyaktam purusham su mahahitah. Purushukta. Purusham jatam agritah tene deva ayanjatah. Purusham jatam agritah tene deva ayajantah. That basically Brahmaji started this sacrifice, then he passed it on to all his children, as Narada Muni and all his brothers. So that this is what Tana Tena Deva Ayajana Ayanjantaha Ayanjanta. Then all your brothers all worship the Lord through sacrifice. Basically, it's a sacrifice means being grateful for what we are getting from the Lord. So when we ended here last, then the Manu sages, Pitas worship the Lord using sacrifice. Okay. So what is 31st? 31st to 33 is a summary of Brahma's answer to Narad Muni's question. So what is the summary of these 6 questions? Narad Muni asking the 6 questions. The 6 questions are Yad Rupam, Yad Adhishtanam, what are the characteristics of the universe? What is shelter of the universe? Yat Srishtam, who created the universe? Yatcha, what are the ingredients for creation? Yat Samstam, where it merges? Yat Param, what it depends? This 6 question. So Brahmaji is going to summarize in 31 to 33. So Narayana Bhagavati Tat Idam Vishwam Ahitam Grihita Mayor Gunaha Sargado Aguna Swataha. So this universe is situated Tad Idam Vishwam Ahitam in Narayana. The Supreme Lord Narayana Bhagavati. Narayana Bhagavati Tad Idam Vishwam Ahitam. By the nature, the Lord is beyond the gunas of Prakriti. Aguna Sattvaha. Last 2 lines. But for creation, maintenance, Sargado, and destruction, Sargado, he has many gunas, Urugunaha, by accepting Maya through the forms of Devatas. Grihita Maya. Basically, Lord creates sense Devatas, Lord creates Lokapalas, Lord creates Prajapatis, and through them, he maintains the material world. So Vishnu maintains. Therefore, Suras, Devatas, they are obedient servants of Lord. Om Tad Vishnu Param Param. They always, their consciousness is always on the lotus feet of the Lord. On the other hand, Asuras, they are against the Lord. So Lord, the whole universe is resting in Narayana, and he controls it by Grihita Mayaha, basically by delegating it to the demigods. This universe is situated in Narayana. Though the Lord is beyond Prakriti, he accepts the 3 modes for creation, maintenance, and destruction through the agency of Maya. So we'll continue this purport for Srila Prabhupada. So for those who have joined late, we are going to make the attendance very, very strict. Without videos on, we are not going to consider your presence and will not be able to attempt the unit test as well as shloka test for upcoming exams. Hare Krishna. So continuing with 31st. नारायण भगवती तदिदं विश्वम् अहितं गृहीतमायोर्गुणः सर्गादौ अगुणसत्त्वः स्वतः. Yes, devotees can.
All the material manifestations of the universes are therefore situated in his powerful material energies, in which he accepts self sufficiently, although he is eternally without affinity for the material modes.
Yes. Yes, Prabhu, please read.
The question put by Narada before Brahma concerning the sustenance of the material creation is thus answered. Material actions and reactions, as the material scientist can superficially observe, are not basically ultimate truth in regard to creation, maintenance, and destruction. The material energy is a potency of the Lord, which is displayed in time, accepting the three qualities of goodness, passion, and ignorance in the forms of Vishnu, Brahma, and Shiva. The material energy thus works under the supreme spell of his lordship, although he is always transcendental to all such material activities. A rich man constructs a big house by spending his energy in the shape of resources, and similarly, he destroys a big house by his resources. But the maintenance is always under his personal care. The Lord is the richest of the rich because he is always fully complete in six opulences. Therefore, he is not required to do anything personally, but everything in the material world is carried out by his wishes and directions. Therefore, the entire material manifestation is situated in Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The impersonal conception of the Supreme Truth is due to lack of knowledge only, and this fact is clearly explained by Brahmaji, who is supposed to be the creator of the universal affairs. Brahmaji is the highest authority in Vedic wisdom, and his assertion in this connection is therefore the supreme information.
Yes. So this is what we have shown. Brahma is summarizing that Lord Narayana, in him everything exists, and he directly doesn't take care of the material world, but he delegates it to the demigods through their energies. Okay, so we'll see the PPT concluding session. Subsequent shloka, what is explaining 32. सृजामि तन्नियुक्तोऽहं हरोहरति तद्वशः विश्वं पुरुषरूपेण परिपाति त्रिशक्तिदृक्. So what this verse is telling, this is what I'm showing is Chakravarti Pad's translation, which is slightly, in detail it is different, but in principle it's same with Prabhupada. Shrajami tad niyukto aham. Brahma is telling to Vishnu, Lord Vishnu. Brahma is telling to Narada about Lord Vishnu. I create under his order. Bhaktivinoda Thakur also says, Tumi Sarveshwareshwara Brajendra Kumara Tumara Ichaye Vishve. So Brahma creates the Vishwa. Shiva destroys it. And then Lord Vishnu maintains it. And Maya is trying to give different 84 lakh species shape to it. So the same thing here. Brahma is again telling to Narada. So same Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying the same theme, which is going to come from 2.6.31 to next till 40. The whole Tumi Sarveshwareshwara, if you see of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, this is exactly similar like this shloka from 2.6.31 to 42. So Lord Brahma creates under his order. Whose order? Krishna's order. And Shiva destroys under his order. Haro harati tadvashaha. Haro is Hara, is Lord Shiva. Harati tadvasha. Harati means to disclaim it or to destroy it. Tadvashaha, being controlled. Kapil Muni also telling the same thing. Tadvada tad bhayat vati vatuham. Indras tapati tad bhayat. Suresh tapati tad bhayat. Varashati Indra dhati agni. So all the demigods, all the Lokpalas, they are performing their duties of heating, cooling, pouring rains, or blowing winds out of fear for Lord Vishnu. So holding his three energies, three Shakti Drak, he protects the universe. Vishwam Paripatihi as the Paramatma, Purusha Rupena. So the 6 questions which Narad Muni is asking to Brahma, answer is that Lord Narayan is the answer. So he may do it. Principle, he is a main person. In detail, he may give rise to Brahma, or he may give rise to Shiva and get it done through him. But through his energies, he is getting it done. What are 3 energies? Antaranga Shakti, Bahiranga Shakti, and Tatastha Shakti. So the verse summary is Brahmaslinga create, Lord Shiva destroys, under Lord Vishnu's order, he does the maintenance. So let's see what Prabhupada has to speak about it. Yes, next devotee translation.
By his will I create, Lord Shiva destroys, and he himself, in his eternal form as personality of Godhead, maintain everything. He is the powerful controller of these three energies. Purport. The conception of one without a second is clearly confirmed here. The one is Lord Vasudev, and only by his different energies and expansions are different manifestations, both in the material world and in the spiritual world, maintained. In the material world also, Lord Vasudev is everything. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 7.19, Vasudeva Sarvam Iti. Everything is Vasudev only. In the Vedic hymns also the same Vasudev is held to be supreme. It is said that in the Vedas, Vasudeva Parobrahma Nachanyo Artho Shri Tatvata Artho Sthiti Tatvata. In fact, there is no greater truth than Vasudev. And Lord Krishna affirms the same truth in the Bhagavad Gita 7.7. Mata Partaram Nanyat. There is nothing above me, Lord Krishna. So the conception of oneness, as overly stressed by the impersonalists, is also accepted by the personal devotee of the Lord. The difference is that the impersonalist denies the personality in the ultimate issue, whereas the devotee gives more importance to the personality of Godhead. Srimad Bhagavatam explains this truth in the verse under discussion. Lord Vasudev is one without a second, but because he is all powerful, he can expand himself as well as display his omnipotencies. The Lord is described here as omnipotent by three energies, three Shakti Dhrak. So, primarily, his three energies are eternal, internal, marginal, and external. This external energy is also displayed in the three modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Similarly, the internal potency is also displayed in the three spiritual modes, Samvit, Sandhini, and Haladni. The marginal potency or the living entities is also spiritual, Prakritim Vidhim Me Param. But the living entities are never equal to the Lord. The Lord is Niras Samya Atishya. In other words, no one is greater than or equal to the Supreme Lord. So the living entities, including even such great personalities as Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, are all subordinate to the Lord. In the material world also, in his eternal form of Vishnu, he manifests and controls all the affairs of demigods, including Brahma and Shiva.
So basically, Lord Shiva, Lord Vishnu is through the agency of Brahma and Shiva, is manifesting it, maintaining it through three energies. Yes. Next shloka. Iti te vihitam tata. Tata means he's saying, O son. So Krishna also tells this to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. Tata. Iti te vihitam tata. Yatedam anuprachasi. Nanyad bhagavata kinchid. Bhavyam sad asad atmakam. Tataha. It is, O son. I have answered according to your question. Itite bihitam. 6 questions. 252 is being answered, concluding. But fifth question is remaining. Yet some system where it is going to merge. That is remaining. That will come after this. 34 to 42. You should not think that there is anything. Na kinchid bhavyam. Na kinchid bhavyam. Apart from me, there is nothing. Well, Brahma is saying, apart from Lord Vishnu, don't think that anything else is existing. Either as effect. Effect means the material world. Cause means Lord Himself. Cause and effect basically in the modern world is spoken in terms of Big Bang is a cause. Effect is this material world. So this cause and effect in the creationist theory, it is regarded by scientists as cause and effect. Even in our Acharya also refer in Sanskrit as cause and effect. Parinama, Karana, Parinama, Karana, Parinama Vada. So either as effect or as cause. Sad Asad Atmakam, other than Supreme Lord, Bhagavata Anyat. Basically, Brahma is telling conclusion. Sarga and Visarga. Question is being asked. Primary creation and secondary creation by Parikshit Maharaj to Sukdev Goswami. Sukdev Goswami is Brahma Narada Samvada. He is explaining the 6 questions. So Brahma is answering to Narada Muni that in Sarga or Visarga, it is only Lord Hari, Bhagavad Anyat. Nobody apart na Anyad Bhagavatah. Apart from Lord Hari, there is no cause, there is no effect. So people may try to experiment and may try to tell there is no need of Lord for this. There is no need of creationist theory. It's only evolution, and many sorts of things are there. So Prabhupada has written, of course, life comes from life. So life cannot come from matter. So matter cannot give rise to effect called as life. So life only has to give life. So therefore, Lord Vishnu creates Brahma, and Brahma creates the whole universe. So that is what Brahma is saying. There is nothing either as cause or as effect other than Supreme Lord. So here onwards, we'll just continue with the purport of Srila Prabhupada. So this was the summary of this part B. Yes, somebody can read the translation.
My dear son, whatever you inquired from me, I have thus explained unto you, and you must know for certain that whatever there is, either cause or as effect, both in the material and spiritual worlds, is dependent on the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yes. Should tell out of 6 questions he has asked, Brahma is telling, whatever is existing in front of you, the cause and effect, material and spiritual world, is dependent on Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yes, Prabhu.
Purport. The complete cosmic situation, both in the material and in the spiritual manifestation of the energies of the Lord, is working and moving first as a cause and then as the effect. But the original cause is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Effect of the original cause becomes the cause of other effects, and thus everything, either permanent or temporary, is working as cause and effect. And because the Lord is a premier cause of all person and all energies, he is called the cause of all causes. As confirmed in the Brahma Samhita as well as in the Bhagavad Gita, the Brahma Samhita 5.1 affirms Ishvara Param Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govindam Sarvakaranam Karanam. And in the Bhagavad Gita it is said, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo Matta Sarvam Pravattate Iti Matva Bhajante Mam Bhuda Bhava Samanvita. So the original premier cause is Vigraha, the personal, and the impersonal spiritual effulgence, Brahmajyoti, is also an effect of the Supreme Brahman, Lord Krishna.
Brahmanohi Pratishthan. So in the highlighted in yellow, Prabhupada is telling here, but the original cause is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And effects of the original cause. What is the effects of original cause? Brahma becomes the cause of other effects. Prajapati, all the 9 brothers of Narada, and all the rishis, Manu, Satrupa, and thus everything either permanent, temporary is working as cause and effect. And what are the effects of original cause? Brahma, Shiva, and Brahma gives rise to all the brothers of Narada, and they engage in creation. But ultimately, Krishna, Tumi Sarveshwareshwara, Brajendra Kumaraha. So now, in the next section, Brahma is going to tell about this section corresponds to why Narad Muni should accept Brahma's opinion and not the opinions of the so-called materialistic scholars or so-called atheistic scholars or anybody who are like who profess some philosophy of creation or evolution. Why? What is the reason that Narad Muni should believe Brahma's version of creation? So Brahma is substantiating his creationist theory. Why? The reason is in the shloka. न भारती मे अंगमशोपलक्ष्यते न वै क्वचिन्मे मनसो मृषागति न मे ऋषिकानि पतन्त्य सत्पते यन्मे हृदोत्कन्त्या यवत्रतो हरि. So what Brahma is saying to Narada? Anga. Here in this word, if you see, na bharati me anga. Like in last verse was tataha. Here anga. Anga refers to O Narada. You come from my part. You are my part and parcel. Angaha. Me bharati. Na marshopa lakshate. Bharati means false. Mrasha means false. Words. Bharati means what is coming from my mouth. Na bharati me anga mrshopa lakshate. O Narada, whatever I am speaking can never be false. So the working of my mind is never false. Navai pachit me manaso mrishagati. Navai pachit me manaso mrishagati. That is the second line. It can never be false. And then what? Name rishikani patant asatpate. Rishikani means senses. My senses also will never fall into the wrong path. That is what Brahma is saying to Narada Muni. So why? What is the reason? So my words can never be can never prove to be false, and then my mind, working of my mind cannot stop, and my senses can never go on wrong path. Why Brahma is giving such guarantee? The reason is in the 4th line. Yanme hridat kantya yavata drato hari. Because with great zeal I hold Lord Hari within my heart. So because I hold the lotus for Lord in my heart with great zeal, my words are never false, my mind is never false, and my senses never take the wrong path. This is what Brahma is telling in the shloka. Yes, next devotee.
Translation. O Narada, because I have caught hold of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, with great zeal, whatever I say has never proved to have been false. Nor is the progress of my mind ever deterred, nor are my senses ever degraded by temporary attachment to matter. Purport. Lord Brahma is the original speaker of Vedic wisdom to Narada, and Narada is the distributor of transcendental knowledge all over the world through his various disciples like Vyasadeva and others. The followers of Vedic wisdom accept the statements of Brahmaji as gospel truth, and transcendental knowledge is thus being distributed all over the world by the process of disciplic succession from time immemorial. Since the beginning of the creation, Lord Brahma is the perfect liberated living being within the material world, and any sincere student of transcendental knowledge must accept the words and statements of Brahmaji as infallible. The Vedic knowledge is infallible because it comes down directly from the Supreme Lord unto the heart of Brahma. And since he is the most perfect living being, Brahmaji is always correct to the letter. And this is because Lord Brahma is a great devotee of Lord who has earnestly accepted the lotus feet of the Lord as the supreme truth. In the Brahma Samhita, which is compiled by Brahmaji, he repeats the aphorism, Govindamadi Purusham Tamami. I am worshipper of original personality of Godhead, Govinda, the primeval Lord. So whatever he says, whatever he thinks, and whatever he does normally in his mood are to be accepted as truth because of his direct and very intimate connection with Govinda, the primeval Lord. Sri Govind, who pleasingly accepts the loving transcendental service of his devotees, gives all protection. Bhagavad Gita 9.31. Kaunteya prati janihi. O son of Kunti, please declare it. The Lord asks Arjun to declare. And why? Because sometimes the declaration of Govind himself may seem contradictory to mundane creatures, but the mundaner will never find any contradiction in the words of
In the words of Lord's devotees. The devotees are specially protected by the Lord so that they may remain infallible.
Sorry,
Therefore,
Prabhuji, my connection was broken.
yeah, can continue.
Shall I continue?
Therefore, yeah.
Contradiction in the words of Lord's devotees. The devotees are especially protected by the Lord so that they may remain infallible. Therefore, the process of devotional service always begins in the service of devotee who appears in disciplic succession. The devotees are always liberated, but that does not mean that they are impersonal. The Lord is a person eternally, and the devotee of the Lord is also a person eternally. Because the devotee has his sense organs even at the liberated stage, he is therefore a person always. And because the devotee's service is accepted by the Lord in full reciprocation, the Lord is also a person in his complete spiritual embodiment. The devotee's senses, being engaged in the service of the Lord, never go astray under the attraction of false material enjoyment. The plans of the devotee never go in vain. And all this is due to the faithful attachment of the devotee for the service of Lord. This is the standard of perfection and liberation. Anyone, beginning from Brahmaji down to human being, is at once put on the path of liberation simply by his attachment in great earnestness for the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna, the primeval Lord. The Lord affirms this in Bhagavad Gita 14.26. Mam chayo avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samati yetan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Anyone, therefore, who is earnestly serious in heart and soul about being in intimate touch with personality of Godhead in the relationship of transcendental loving service will always be infallible in words and action. The reason is that he doubted with the absolute truth attains the same transcendental quality. On the other hand, any amount of mental speculation on the strength of material science and knowledge without any bona fide touch with the absolute truth is sure to be a mundane untruth and failure, simply due to not being in touch with the absolute truth. Such godless, unfaithful words and actions, however materially enriched, are never to be trusted. That is the purport of this important verse. A grain of devotion is more valuable than tons of faithlessness.
Yes. So why Narada should believe Brahma's word? Because Brahma is telling he has devotion. And he's personally heard the whole thing from Lord Vasudeva. And therefore his mind, his senses, and his words can never be false. So this is the purport of the disciplic succession. Anybody is coming disciplic succession, it is very earnest, serious in heart, and want to serve Lord, then Lord will never make his words, Lord will never make his senses, Lord will never make his mind go in the wrong path. So telling this, Brahma says, then why should one believe the words of Brahma? He has already told that he can never be debated. But Brahma is telling, even though I am so qualified by being endowed with supreme knowledge, austerity, yoga, Lord Brahma is bhakti. The last verse spoke, 34th verse is speaking about the bhakti connection with the Lord. But there is also material side of Brahma. He is very austere, he has a lot of knowledge, he has 4 mouths. With 4 mouths, he is producing 4 Vedic knowledge. But still, Brahma is telling, without bhakti, only by knowledge, one cannot know the Supreme Lord. So, this 35th verse speaks about, although I am blessed by the Lord, although I am a devotee, but just by knowledge, one cannot understand the Lord. And I cannot understand Lord completely. Then how can others created by me understanding? That is the section of this. That is 35th verse. Soham samamanayamayastapomaya prajapatim namavivanditapati astaya yogyam nipunam samahitas tam nadya gacham yata atma sambhava. So what is telling here is, so I being of this nature, being filled with the Vedas, amanaya mayaha, soham sa amanaya mayas. So Brahma's whole body is not made, our body is made up of 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether. But Brahma's body is made up of Vedic literatures, consciousness, chitta, sound, vibration, shabda, Brahma, what you say. So amamanaya mayas tapomayam. So my whole existence is filled with the Vedic literature. Vedic literature comes from my 4 mouths. Lord Vishnu has breathed and I have taken it and I'm giving it from 4 mouths, 4 Vedas. And tapomaya, filled with austerities. Prajapatinam, Prajapatinam Abhibanditapati. So Prajapatinam means all the children of Brahma was expanded, like Karadama Muni, Ardaksha Prajapati, Abhivanditapati. I mean worshipped by them for creating them. They offer their worship to me. So this is my qualification. So I'm my whole body of Vedic literature. I'm embodiment of tapasya. Prajapatinam Abhivandite Pati. All the Prajapatis, they worship me. Astai Yogam Nipuna Samahitas. He is telling that performing yoga with fixed mind, we cannot focus yoga. Nipunam Samahitas with fixed mind. But still, tam na adyagacham yat atma sambhavaha. But tam na adyagacham, I do not know the Lord, since I was created by Him. The creation, I'm a part and parcel of Lord Hari. He has created me. Although I'm so qualified, as explained in this 35th verse, but still I cannot understand Lord. So somebody might think that Brahma is created by the Lord, therefore one cannot understand the Lord. But the next verse is going to speak. What to speak of me? I am a Tata, I am an Anga of Lord. Therefore, don't think, Narada, that I cannot understand Lord Hari. But even Lord himself cannot understand him. Why? That comes in the next shloka. So, this shloka basically speaks about all the qualifications like tapasya, jnana, yoga. Even if somebody is very expert to the extent of Brahma, he being the product of creation, he cannot understand Lord. So then if Lord Brahma cannot understand the Lord, then why Narada should put faith in his words? Because bhakti. He has bhakti. By bhakti is connected. Therefore, bhakti mam abhajanati yavan ichchasmi tattvataha. Therefore, whatever is telling is truth. So with that faith, Narada should accept it. But still, Brahma cannot understand completely the Supreme Lord. That is this verse is speaking about. This next devotee can do the translation.
Although I am known as the great Brahma, perfect in the disciple succession of Vedic wisdom, and although I have undergone all austerities and am an expert in mystic powers and self-realization, and although I am recognized as such by the great forefathers of the living entities, who offer me respectful obeisances, still I cannot understand Him, the Lord, the very source of my birth. Brahma, the greatest of all living creatures within the universe, is admitting his failure to know the Supreme Lord despite his vast learning in the Vedic wisdom, despite his austerity, penance, mystic powers and self-realization, and despite being worshipped by the great Prajapatis, the forefathers of the living entities. So these qualifications are not sufficient to know the Supreme Lord. Brahmaji could understand the Lord to a little extent only when he was trying to serve him by the eagerness of his heart. Hridaya Kantayavata, which is the devotional service mode. Therefore, the Lord can be known only by the sincere mood of eagerness for service and not by any amount of material qualification, as scientists or speculative philosophers, or by attainment of mystic powers. This fact is clearly corroborated in the Bhagavad Gita 18, chapter 54-55. ब्रह्मभूत प्रसन्नात्मा न शोचति न कांक्षति समः सर्वेषु भूतेषु मद भक्तिनां लभते पराम् भक्त्या माम अभिजानाति यावन् यस्य चास्मि तत्वतः तत्त्वो मम तत्वतो जानत्व विशते तदन्तरात्मनम्. Only self-realization by attainment of the above 5 qualifications of Vedic wisdom, austerity, etc., can help one on the path of devotional service. But falling on in devotional service, one remains still imperfect, because even in that position of self-realization, one cannot factually know the Supreme Lord. By self-realization, one is qualified to become a devotee, and the devotee, by service mode, bhaktya, only can gradually know the personality of Godhead. One should not, however, misunderstand the import of Visate enters into as referring to merging into existence of the Supreme. Even in material existence, one is merged in the existence of the Lord. No materialist can disentangle the self from matter, for the self is merged in the external energy of the Lord. As no layman can separate butter from milk, no one can extricate the merged self from matter by acquiring some material qualification. This visate by devotion, bhaktya, means to be able to participate in the association of the Lord in person. Bhakti or devotional service to the Lord means to become free from material entanglement and then to enter into the kingdom of God. Becoming one like Him, losing one's individuality is not the aim of Bhakti Yoga, or if the devotees of the Lord. There are 5 types of liberation, one of which is called Sayujya Mukti, or being merged into the existence or body of the Lord. The other forms of liberation maintain the individuality of the particle soul and involve being always engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. The word Visate kind used in and involve being always engaged in the transcendental living service of the Lord. The word text 18.55 of the Bhagavad Gita is thus meant for the devotees who are not at all anxious of any kind of liberation. The devotees are satisfied simply in being engaged in the service of the Lord, regardless of the situation. Lord Brahma is the first living being who directly learned the Vedic wisdom from the Lord. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye. Therefore, who can be a more learned Vedantis than Lord Brahma? He admits that in spite of his perfect knowledge in the Vedas, he was unable to know the glories of the Lord. Since no one can be more than Lord Brahma, how can a so-called Vedantis be perfectly cognizant of the absolute truth? The so-called Vedantis therefore cannot enter into the existence of the Lord without being trained in the matter of Bhaktivedanta, or Vedanta plus Bhakti. Vedanta means self-realization, and Bhakti means realization of the personality of Godhead to some extent. No one can know the personality of Godhead in self-surrender and a devotional attitude, and by nothing else. In the Brahma Samhita also it is said, Vedeshu Durlabham,
or simply by study of Vedanta, one can hardly find out the existence of the personality of Godhead. But the Lord is adurlabham atma bhakto, very easily available to his devotee. Sri Vyasadeva therefore was not satisfied simply with compiling the Vedanta Sutras, but over and above this, by the advice of his spiritual master Narada, he compiled the Srimad Bhagavatam in order to understand the real import of Vedanta. Srimad Bhagavatam, therefore, is the absolute medium by which to understand the absolute truth.
With this purport, Prabhupada is telling Brahma's realization, like when people from milk, they can't extract butter here. See carefully. So Vishate trying to merge or trying by any other way to understand Lord is difficult. There's a process to make butter. You take a milk, put curd, churn it, and then churn in the morning, 5 to 6, then maximum butter comes. Similarly, for bhakti, a person has to accept a process, accept a guru, accept a Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. Te Pumsharpita Vishnu Bhaktische Navalakshanam. Dhyayet Adha Tadditam Uttamam. Similarly, when you do the Uttam Bhakti, then you can get an opportunity to, like Vishate, get a liberation, not merging into Brahman, but being with one of the 4 ways of personal liberation one can get. So Prabhupada is writing here, only when one is trained in the aspect of Bhakti, Vedanta, because just Vedanta cannot make one understand, because Vedas, best by reading Vedas, one cannot understand Lord. But while reading Bhagavatam, you can understand the Lord. And therefore, when we read Bhagavatam, Prabhupada purports with Acharya commentaries, we can easily understand it, what is happening, how it is happening, connections and flows. Why? Because the devotees, Acharyas, they are doing bhakti, right from Brahma, Narada, Vyasa, all the Acharyas, they have devotion. Because of their devotion, little extent they can understand. And that little extent what devotees and Acharyas can understand is put in this form of purports. And more than this, it's very difficult to understand. What we need to practice bhakti is what is being told here. So next shloka speaks, okay, Brahma cannot understand, Brahma has all these qualifications because of Hridaya Kantya, Bhakti. Because of Bhakti, he is qualified to teach the Bhakti process in Parampara, but not because of his material qualification. Even he cannot know it because he is produced from Lord himself. So how can he know it? But the 36th verse speaks, who can actually claim to really know the Lord, as even the Lord himself cannot know. Like I was saying, Brahma is the product of creation, created by the Lord himself. He is the firstborn. He's been produced from the navel of the Lord. He cannot understand. Brahma is saying, don't think that only I cannot understand. Even Lord cannot understand himself. That is his shloka. Natyosmiham taccharanam samyusham bhavachiddam swastyayanam sumangalam yohi atma maya vibhavam smaparyagat yata nabha svantam ata parekuta. So Brahma is Nato, means he is offering Dandavat Pranam. To whom? Asmi aham tat charanam samiyusham. I offer my respects to the lotus feet of the Lord. Why? Bhavachiddam swastyayanam sumangalam. Because the Lord destroys material existence for the devotees. Samyusham Bhavachiddam. Bhavachiddam means he destroys the material existence for his devotees. The material conception, gross body, subtle body, aham mameti conception. And what he does? Swastyayanam. He bestows the bliss of prema. Sumangalam. And which deliver the goals of all other sadhanas. Basically, prema is a fruit, which is a ripened fruit. Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamale Muro Rusiko Bhuvi Bhavaka. So why Brahmaji is offering obeisances? Natosmiham tat charanam samivusham bhavat chiddam swasti ayanam sumangalam. Because by offering obeisances to the Lord, these are the effects coming out of the bodily existence of life. One gets prema and one gets all the byproducts of the prema. Yohi atma maya vibhavam smag pariyagat. Yohi sma pariyagat. Even that Lord, Yohi, Atma Maya. Atma Maya is Yoga Maya. Vibhavam, the opulences of the Yoga Maya cannot be understood by whom? Sma pariyagat. In Ishopanishad comes that sa pariyagat asna veryam. So what it means? One should know. But sma means cannot know. Even Lord does not know. Yo hi asmam pariyagat. Even Lord does not know. What he doesn't know? Yo hi atma maya. The extent of his yoga maya potency. Atma maya vibhavam. Just, and what is the analogy Brahma is giving? Just yata nabha. Nabha is space. Swantam ata pare kuta. Like just a space does not know its limit. What then can others know about the Lord? Basically, a sky doesn't know the limit. Where the boundary, this earth, is atmosphere, to what extent the whole space is existing, nobody can understand. So although the space is around the earth, similarly, although Lord is like sun, and from Lord, the sun rays are coming. And sun, if you see carefully, Jiva Goswami gives this in his Sandarbha, Bhakti, one of the Sandarbha, Lord is like a sun, and around the sun there is a membrane of sun, which is very hot. And far away from the membrane, which extends for many kilometers, the rays emanate and they come to the earth. So here what is saying? Yatan abas pantam ata parekuta. Like on the earth planet, there is atmosphere, but the sky cannot understand its limit, how much it is extending. Similarly, the sun, who is the source of this energy, especially not external energy, internal energy, he cannot understand the extent of his internal energy. And 2.6.36 is indirectly hinting towards the appearance of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prabhupada writes in the purport. He gives this commentary that Yatanaba Swanta Mata Parekuta Mitra. Brahma is saying, I cannot understand because I'm coming from him. What to speak of I? Sma Pariyag, Lord doesn't Atma Maya, he cannot understanding. Therefore, what happens? Krishna is enjoying gopis, especially Radharani. Radharani is serving, Krishna is enjoying. She is servitorhood, Supreme Person God servitorhood, his Supreme Person Godhead. But still the Radharani's happiness is increasing more and more, more and more, more and more. And therefore, and Lord's enjoyment also increasing. But the time Lord's enjoyment is increasing, Radharani's happiness is increasing. Therefore, this is the meaning of Yatanaba Swanta Mata Parekuta. Lord cannot measure the height of his Yoga Maya. So if Lord cannot understand his own energy of Yoga Maya, so how can I explain about such a Lord? So one should understand that Lord cannot understand. Tattva wise, Lord can understand. What is needed for the creation of the material world is Tattva. So there, Lord can understand. What is that? Okay, Lord is expanding as Brahm Balram, Lord expanding as four quadruple, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Niruddha, Vasudeva, second quadruple, and Sankarshan expands into Mahavishnu, Mahavishnu into Garbhadakshay Vishnu, Garbhadakshay Vishnu into Shiradakshay Vishnu, is becoming Paramatma, Garbhadakshay Vishnu becomes the Paramatma of the material world, of the whole globe, and Karnadakshay Vishnu becomes the Paramatma of the whole material world. Where is happening? What is happening? Everything Lord knows in the material world. But when it comes to devotional service of Radharani, Lord is not able to measure, and therefore he becomes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So therefore this verse indirectly hints towards the appearance of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yes, next devotee can read.
Therefore, it is best for me to surrender unto his feet, which alone can deliver one from the miseries of repeated birth and death. Such surrender is all auspicious and allows one to perceive all happiness. Even the sky cannot estimate the limits of its own expansion. So, what can others do when the Lord Himself is unable to estimate His own limits?
Yes.
Perfect. Lord Brahma, the greatest of all learned living beings, the greatest sacrificer, the greatest observer of the austere life, and the greatest self realized mystic, advises us as the supreme spiritual master of all living beings that one should simply surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord in order to achieve all success, even up to the limit of being liberated from the miseries of material life and being endowed with all auspicious spiritual existence. Lord Brahma is known as Pitamaha, or the father's father. A young man consults his experienced father about discharging his duties. So, the father is naturally a good advisor. But Lord Brahma is the father of all fathers. He is the father of Manu, who is the father of mankind all over the universal planets. Therefore, the men of the insignificant planet should kindly accept the instructions of Brahmaji and would do well to surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord, rather than try to estimate the length and breadth of the Lord's potencies. His potencies are immeasurable, as confirmed in Vedas. Parashar Shaktir विविध है सूर्य सूर्यते स्वभावी के जना बला क्रिया च Chatashwar Upanishad 6.8. He is the greatest of all and all others, even the greatest of all living beings, namely Brahmaji, admits that the best thing for us is to surrender unto him. Therefore, all those persons who with poor fund of knowledge claim that they themselves are lords of all that they survey. And what can they survey? They cannot survey even the length and breadth of a small sky is in one small universe. The so-called material scientists say that he would need to live 40,000 years to reach the highest planet of the universe, being carried by a Sputnik. This is also an utopian because no one can be expected to live 40,000 years. Besides, when the space pilot returned from his travel, none of his friends would be present to receive him back as the greatest astronaut, as has become fashionable. It has gone up. It has been fashionable for modern bewildered scientists when one scientific man who had no belief in God was very much enthusiastic in making plans for his material existence and therefore opened a hospital to save the living. But after opening the hospital, he himself died within 6 months. So one should not spoil his human life, which is obtained after many changes of bodies in 84 lakh species of life, simply for the concocted material happiness of life through increasing artificial needs in the name of advancement of economic development and scientific knowledge. Rather, one should simply surrender unto the feet of the Lord to make a solution to all miseries of life. That is the instruction of Lord Krishna directly in the Bhagavad Gita. And that is the instruction of Brahmaji, the supreme father of all living beings in Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yes, Jagannath, going through 1 minute. So basically, Prabhupada is writing in this whole paragraph from here, no? The first and second paragraph. He is writing about the aspect of Bhavachiddam. Stop the repetition of birth and death. The word comes. If you see each and every purport in Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada basically takes the route of explaining one word elaborately. And most of the times when it comes to going back to Godhead, removing the misery of material existence, giving up the material enjoyment, Prabhupada focuses on that. So basically in this purport, Prabhupada is focusing, in the second paragraph, Prabhupada is focusing on this Bhavachiddam, repetition. And then Swastyanam, all happiness, basically happiness of the Prema, Chakravartipad mentioned, and Sumangalam, all auspicious. So these three qualities Prabhupada is trying to highlight in these first two paragraphs. Yes, Prabhu. You can try to come to this point. Yeah, here if you see carefully, come here. You can read this highlighted portion. Yeah.
By surrendering unto the Lord, one is happy and liberated. But by surrendering unto material nature, the living entity suffers. So the end of all suffering means surrendering unto the Lord, because the surrendering process itself is a bhavachiddam, liberation from all material miseries. Swasti, swastyayam, perceptions of all happiness. and Sumangalam, the source of everything auspicious.
Yes, Prabhu, continue.
Therefore, liberty, happiness, and all good fortune can be attained only by surrendering unto the Lord, because He is full liberty, full happiness, and full auspiciousness. Such liberation and happiness are also unlimited, and they have been compared to the sky. Although such liberations and happiness are infinitely greater than the sky. In our present position, we can simply understand the magnitude of greatness when it is compared to the sky. We fail to measure the sky, but the happiness and liberty obtained in the association with the Lord are far greater than the sky. That spiritual happiness is so great that it cannot be measured, even by the Lord Himself, not to speak of others.
Yes. So basically, Lord is Prabhupada is telling here about the last line of the shloka. Last line of shloka is Yata Nabha Ayanam. Basically, the sky cannot measure its limitedness. Yes, Prabhu. Read this very wonderful purport, which speaks about Radharani's and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance. Yeah.
It is said in the scriptures, Brahma Saukhyam Tava Atmanam.
Anantam.
Spiritual
Anantam.
happiness is unlimited. Here it is said that even the Lord cannot measure happiness. This does not mean that the Lord cannot measure it and is therefore imperfect in that sense. The actual position is that Lord can measure it, but the happiness in the Lord is so identical with the Lord on the account of absolute knowledge. So the happiness derived from the Lord may be measured by the Lord, but the happiness increases again, and the Lord measures it again, and then the happiness increases more and more, and the Lord measures it more and more, and such there is eternally a competition between increment and measurement. So much so that the competition is never stopped, but goes on unlimitedly at the infinitum. Spiritual happiness is Anandam Buddhivardhanam, or the ocean of happiness which increases. The material ocean is stagnant, but the spiritual ocean is dynamic. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, 4th chapter, Kaviraj Goswami has very nicely described this dynamic increment of the ocean of spiritual happiness in the transcendental person of Srimati Radharani, the pleasure potency of Lord Krishna.
Yes. So because of this, Radharani's pleasure is ever increasing. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna desires that what is it that making Radharani so much blissful? So let me appear with her color and with her feelings. And then that is what causes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance in this material world. Okay. So if Lord also cannot understand, the Brahma also cannot understand Tattva with his intelligence, then only by Bhakti. So in both the cases, 34, 35, 36, 30, 36, what it shows is Brahma can understand if it has Bhakti. Bhakti is a part of Lavini Shakti and Radharani. When Lord can understand, but then he has to become like Radharani from Tattva, from Rasa point of view. But Tattva point of view, Lord understands. Basically, the Bhakti, superiority of Bhakti is mentioned in this 34, 35, 36. So then what? Then Brahma is telling, I cannot understand, Lord cannot understand, then what I should do? No, no, no. But devotion surpasses knowledge. Tattva. And therefore, whatever I know, I will try to glorify Lord Hari. And that is what you have to accept my words. So that is what is telling in Naham na yuyam yadratam gatir vidur Navamadeva kimuta pare sura Tanmaya mohita buddhayastvaidam Vinirmitam chatmasamam vichakshame. So this is what Brahma is telling. What is telling? Na aham. Na means I. Aham, you, yuyam. Na ham, na yuyam. And Shiva, Vamadeva is mentioning Shiva here. do not know the 3-part spiritual world, the 1-part material world, yadartham. So even I, you, and Lord Shiva do not know about the material and spiritual worlds completely, what then to speak of others? But still we speak about the material realm, and that too only according to our limited knowledge. So Brahma said to Narada Muni that I cannot know, Shiva cannot know, Vamadeva, you cannot know, Yuyam matlab Narada Muni. So, but still, why we are Vinirmitam Chatma Samam Vichakshame? But still, we are trying to glorify Lord, because that is what is our original constitutional position, to do bhakti at the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. Therefore, still we are trying to glorify Him at our ability. Yatashruti Yatamati. Yes, next devotee can read.
Translation. Since neither Lord Shiva nor you nor I could ascertain the limits of spiritual happiness, how can other demigods know it? And because of all of us are bewildered by the illusory external energy of the Supreme Lord, we can see only this manifested cosmos according to our individual ability. Purport. We have many times mentioned the names of 12 selected authorities, Dvadasha Mahajana, of which Brahma, Narada, and Lord Shiva head the list as the first, second, and third in order of merit of those who know something of the Supreme Lord. Other demigods, semi-demigods, Gandharvas, Charanas, Vidyadharas, human beings, or Asuras cannot possibly know fully about the potencies of the Absolute Lord, Sri Krishna. The demigods, semi-gods, Gandharvas, etc. are highly intelligent persons in the upper planets. The human beings are inhabitants of the intermediate planets. The Asuras are inhabitants of the lower planets. All of them have their respective conceptions and estimations of the absolute truth, as does the scientist or the empiric philosopher, the human society. All such living entities are creatures of the material nature, and consequently, they are bewildered by the wonderful display of the 3 modes of material nature. Such bewilderment is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 7.13. Tribur Ganamayair Bhuvair Ebihi Sarvam Idam Jagat. Every entity, beginning from Brahma down to the end, is individually bewildered by the 3 modes of material nature, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance. Everyone thinks in terms of individual capacity that this universe, which is manifested before us, is all in all. And so the scientist, the human society of 20th century, calculates the beginning and end of the universe in his own way. But what can the scientist know? Even Brahma himself was once bewildered, thinking himself the only one Brahma favored by the Lord. But later on, by the grace of the Lord, he came to know that there are innumerable more powerful Brahmas as well. In far bigger universes beyond the universes. And all of these universes combined together form Ekapad Vibhuti, or the 1/4 of the manifestation of the Lord's creative energy. The other 3/4 of this energy are displayed in the spiritual world. And so what can the tiny scientist with a tiny brain know of the absolute personal Godhead, Lord Krishna? The Lord says, therefore, Maitam Nabijanati Mam Ebya Param Avyayam. Bewildered by such modes of material nature, they cannot understand that beyond these manifestations, the Supreme Person with absolute control of everything, Brahma, Narada, and Lord Shiva, know about the Lord to a considerable extent, and therefore one should follow the instructions of these great personalities instead of being satisfied with the tiny brain and its playful discoveries such as spacecraft and similar products of science. And the mother is the only authority to identify the father of the child. So the Mother Vedas, presented by the recognized authorities such as Brahma, Narada, or Shiva, is the only authority to inform us about the absolute truth.
Yeah. Basically, one should not try to go by Tarka, by Pratyaksha Ranuman, but one should accept Shabda. So, not so easy to understand the Lord. Yasya avatara karmani gayanti hi asmad adaya nayam vidanti tatvena tasmai bhagavate namaha. Brahma is telling, we don't know him, but doesn't matter. What matters is Yasya avatara karmani gayanti asmad adaya. Doesn't matter whether we know him, doesn't know him, but whatever we know, let us glorify his activities. Which activities? Those activities we glorify when he appears as various avataras. So this 2638 is a hint for 7th chapter. The title of the 7th chapter is scheduled incarnations. So in this verse, it is giving Yasya avatara karmani. Lord appears as various avatars to perform different activities. Gayanti asmadadaya. So although we don't know him, but whenever appears in the material world, he takes avatars, we will glorify those avatars. Nayam vidam tatvena. Tasmai bhagavate nama. We offer obeisances to such Lord Hari. So that means this chapter is ending. What is the next chapter? Although we don't know him, but he is a efficient cause, he is a material cause. All 6 questions which Narada is asking, answer is Lord Narayana. So that Narayana, how he takes different avatars, that is the connection of the next chapter, which is coming here, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. Yes, next devotee.
Hare Krishna. Translation. Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose incarnation and activities are chanted by us for glorification, though he can hardly be fully known as he is. Purport. It is said that the transcendental name, form, quality, pastimes, paraphernalia, personality, etc., cannot possibly be perceived by the gross materialistic senses. But when the senses are purified by the process of hearing, chanting, remembering, and worshipping the lotus feet of the holy deity, etc., the Lord reveals himself proportionately to the advancement of the quality of the devotional service.
So I have a question for all of you. What is this shloka mentioned here? Which shloka is this? You have studied in Bhakti Shastri.
Devotional service.
Yes.
It's about devotional service.
Janmakarme che divyam.
Janmakarme chame divyam.
Janmakarme
This is from hint is NOD. So one by one, devotees are logging out. The count has come from 19 to 15. And I'm observing it. Yes. Which is shloka? All of your Bhakti Shastri graduates.
Yeah.
अतः कृष्ण नामादि नववेद इंद्रग्रही सेवन मुख्य जीवादि स्वयं स्फूर्त्यदा.
Madan Mohan Prabhu, the senior citizen of our batch, he is sharing. Atah Shri Krishna Namadi na bhaved grayam indriye. Sevan mukehi jivado swayam eva spuratyada. Although it's very difficult to understand the Lord by knowledge, but still, if we continue glorifying, why this shloka Prabhupada is writing here? That is the reason I asked the question. Here, although Brahma is saying that we cannot understand the Lord, but still we want to glorify, because glorification is kirtanam. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. This is a ninefold process of bhakti. By this process of bhakti, one can purify one's senses and one can understand Lord according to the practice of one's bhakti. So Brahma is telling, although we cannot know him, theoretically, he is beyond us, but by practice of bhakti, one can know him. This is the shloka 38. Yes, Prabhupada. I think Mataji was reading. Continue, Mataji.
Yes.
Mataji.
Yes.
Yeah.
One should not expect the Lord to be an order supplying agent who must be present before us as soon as we desire to see him. We must be ready to undergo the prescribed devotional duties, following the path shown by the predecessors in the disciplic succession from Brahma, Narada, and similar authorities. As the senses are progressively purified by bona fide devotional service, the Lord reveals his identity according to the spiritual advancement of the devotee. But one who is not in the line of devotional service can hardly perceive him simply by calculations and philosophical speculations. Such a hard worker can present a jugglery of words before an audience, but can never know Supreme Personality of Godhead in his personal feature. The Lord has clearly stated in the Bhagavad Gita that one can know him only by devotional service. No one can know the Lord by any of material process of challenge, but the humble devotee can please the Lord by his earnest earnest devotional service activities. Devotional activities. Thus, the Lord reveals himself proportionately before the devotee. Lord Brahma therefore offers his respectful obeisances as a bona fide spiritual master and advises us to follow the process of Shravana and Kirtana simply by the process or simply by hearing and chanting the glories of the activities of the Lord's incarnation. One can certainly see himself within himself the identity of the Lord. We have already discussed that subject in volume 1 of Srimad Bhagavatam in connection with the verse Tat Saddhana Muniyo Jnana Vairagya Yuktaya Pashantyatmani Chatmanam Bhaktya Shruta Grihitaya. The conclusion is that one cannot know the Supreme Personality of Godhead fully by any method, but he can be seen and felt partially by the devotional service process of hearing and chanting. Hare Krishna.
Explaining that one cannot understand Lord by empirical knowledge, but only one can understand him by devotion. Therefore, 38th shloka is a seed for the next chapter. Yasya avatara karamani. It is going to start with different avataras will come in the 7th chapter, second and 7th chapter, and also bhakti is more important than jnana, karma, ashtanga. So next shloka, we are going to discuss on the 39th shloka. Sayesha adhyaya purusha kalpe kalpeshyatyajah atmatmani atmanatmanam sasamyachati paticha paticha sasamyachati paticha. So here yet samstam 39 to 46. The verse number 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46. It is answering the fifth question of Brahma, Narada Muni to Brahma, where everything merges. So Mahavishnu is lying, the soul of all living beings, creates this universe, maintains it, and destroys in himself. He breathes, all the universe come, he enters his Garbhadaksha Vishnu, becomes Shivadaksha Vishnu. At the end of the day of Brahma, he breathes everything inside. So everything again goes and merges back into him. Yeah. Next devotee can read the translation. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
The Supreme Original Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, expanding his plenary portion as Mahavishnu, the first incarnation, create this manifested cosmos, but he is unborn. The creation, however, takes place in him, and the material substance and the manifestations are all himself. He maintains them for some time and absorbs them into himself again.
Okay. So basically from 39 to 46, we will conclude it today in next 15 minutes. I'm not going to read much of the purport because what it is going to speak about is Brahma is summarizing where everything merges. He basically speaking about the original Purusha, three Purushas, Karanadaksha Vishnu, Garbhadaksha Vishnu, Shivadaksha Vishnu. So Brahmaji is going to summarize about the original creator, Karanadaksha Vishnu. And 39 is speaking about his activities. What are his activities? First incarnation creates this manifested cosmos, unborn, however takes place in him. Material substance and manifestation, pradhana, mahatattva, all are in himself. He maintains them for some time and absorbs them into himself again. These are the activities of Mahavishnu being mentioned here. So basically Prabhupada speaks about the impersonalist path who tell that everything is coming from void. But Prabhupada is telling here Vaishnavas accept the original form of Lord, whom the impersonal form is merely one of the features. So Prabhupada basically speaking about what are the activities of Mahavishnu. Activities of Mahavishnu is he creates this universe and he annihilates it after the day of Brahma. And he's quoting Brahma Samhita, Yat Karanarnava Jala Bhajati Sma Yoga Nidram Ananta Jagadanda Kusharoma Kupa Adhar Shaktim Avalambya Param Swamurtim Govindamadi Purusham Tamam Bhajami. So what this 39 shloka is being mentioned from 5.47 Brahma Samhita. I worship the primal Lord Govinda who lies down in the causal ocean in his plenary portion as Mahavishnu with all the universe generating from the pores of his hair. on his transcendental body and who accepts the mystic slumber. So this Mahavishnu is the first incarnation. Yes, Suryakant, we can read this one.
Okay, so this Mahavishnu is the first incarnation in the creation, and from him, all the universes are generated, all material manifestations are produced, one after another. The causal ocean is created by the Lord as the spiritual sky is an expansion of his personal rays, and he is the Mahat Tattva
Only
cloud.
one line is missed. The causal ocean is created by the Lord as the Mahat Tattva.
As the Mahat Tattva, as a cloud in the spiritual sky, and is only a part of his different manifestations. The spiritual sky is an expansion of his personal rays, and he is the Mahat Tattva cloud also. He lies down and generates the universe by his breathing and again by entering into each universe as Garbhodaksha Vishnu. He creates Brahma, Shiva, and many other demigods for maintenance of the universe, and again absorbs the whole thing into his person as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita.
Yes.
9.1. Yeah. Surabhutani Kontaya Prakrutin Yanimo Kalpakshe Punasashi Kalpado Vishajati Aham. O son of Kunti, when the kalpa, the duration of life of the Brahma is ended, then all the created manifestations enter into my prakriti or energy. Again, when I desire, the same creation takes place by my personal energy. The conclusion is that these are all but displays of the Lord's inconceivable personal energies, of which no one can have any full information. This point we have already discussed.
So basically, this is very difficult to understand because this is just we can hear from the Vedic literature. But this is 39th verse speaking about the activities of Mahavishnu. 40 and 41st verse. 40th verse is speaking about the qualities, characteristic, and 41 speaking about how to know him. Vishuddham kevalam jnanam pratyak samyak avasthitam satyam purnam anadyantam nirgunam nityam advayam. These are his qualities. These are his characteristics, qualities. And 41st speak how to know him. Rishe vidanti munayo prashantatmendriyasya yada tat eva shattarkais tirodyet viplutam. By tarka, you get bewildered. But by hearing from the bona fide authority in disciplic succession, one can understand it. But what is qualities? Vishuddham, Kevalam, pure, Asnaviryam, Apavidyam, Shuddham. All those qualities comes in Ishopanishad Mantra 7. Exactly, this is matching with that. Satyam, Purnam, Anadi, Antam, Nirgunam, Nityam, Advayam. These are the qualities of the Mahavishnu. Yes, next devotee can read.
The personality of Godhead is pure, being free from all contaminations of material tinges. He is the absolute truth and the embodiment of full and perfect knowledge. He is all pervading, without beginning or end, and without revival. O Narada, a great sage, the great thinker can know him when completely freed from all material hankerings and when sheltered under undisturbed conditions of the senses. Otherwise, by untenable arguments, all is distorted and the Lord disappears from our sight.
Yes. So these are the different qualities Prabhupada is going to explain in the purport. The first paragraph, Prabhupada is going to explain about the Mayavadi philosophy. Because his first 40th verse, if you see carefully, Vishuddham, Kevalam, Jnanam, Pratyak, Samyak, Avasitam, Satyam, Purnam, Anadiyantam, Nirgunam, Nityam, Advayam. Nirgunam matlab he is not separated to three modes, but he is beyond three modes. Vishuddham means he is Shuddha, he is not affected by matter. Kevalam matlab he is absolute. Asama Urdhva. Jnanam is full of knowledge. So similarly, this quality is generally Mayavadis, they utilize this such verses from Bhagavatam and tend to say that everything is one. But Prabhupada is trying to refute that. That here's an estimation of the Lord apart from his transcendental activities in the temporary material world. He has all these qualities also. Activities are told in previous verse. 40th verse he speaks about the qualities. So according to Mayavad philosophy, the spirit soul when covered by nishines is designated as Jiva. तमोगुण में आने के बाद जैसे तमोगुण से मुक्त होता है तो उसको क्या बोलते हैं वो भगवान बट ऐसा नहीं है जीवात्मा when it gets liberated it becomes a devotee but cannot become God. So Prabhupada is refuting the Mayavadi, which is a philosophy here. So Vijnanam, Anandam. So there, what are the different qualities? Prabhupada is giving purport on the 40th verse here. Vijnanam, Anandam, full of knowledge and bliss. The conditioned soul are never to be equated with the Lord. Some of the qualities are there which can apply to Jivatma also, which can apply to Paramatma also. But qualities both have, but quantity is differing. So therefore, this Prabhupada is telling in this paragraph that Shuddham, Apapa Viddham, he's quoting Ishopnishad here. The individual Atma becomes polluted by sin, but the Lord is never contaminated by sin. On the contrary, infected things are sterilized by the rays of the sun. Similarly, Lord never gets contaminated. Therefore, it's called Pratyak, used in these words. He is as powerful as the sun. So the Lord's qualities are being mentioned here. Ittam Bhuto Guno Hari. This is 7th chapter of the first canto. His transcendental qualities are so attractive that even the liberated soul, Atma Rams, are also attracted by him. If his Jivatma only becomes Paramatma, then those who are liberated souls, why they're getting attracted to the Lord qualities? Ittam Bhuto Gunohari refutes that Mayavadi philosophy that the living entities are getting attracted in the liberated state means that Lord is the source of all Jivatmas. So he's quoting Katha Upanishad Shloka and telling that Ekam Eva Dvitiyam Brahma Dvaitadva Bhayam Bhavati. The Lord has no competitor. He has nothing to fear from anyone. So basically he is exclusive. So Prabhupada gives a very, very long purport here. And then the second line he's going to speak about refuting the same empirical philosophers. So you can read from here, this one. Yes.
Somehow or other, as long as there is demand for a sense satisfaction, there is no chance for pacification, or the contrary, by unnecessary drive speculative arguments. The whole matter becomes distorted, and thus the Lord moves still further away from our understanding. The drive speculators, however, because of their following the principles of austerity and penance, can have knowledge of the impersonal features of the Lord to some extent, but there is no chance of their understanding his ultimate form as Govinda, because only the Amalatmanas or the completely sinless persons can accept pure devotional service to the Lord, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Yesham tantagatam papam jananam punya karmana yet dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam drudavrata.
So 40th shloka spoke about the qualities of the Lord, and 41st is speaking of how to know him. One can know him only by Rishe Vidanti, coming here. Kalpe Kalpa Shradanti. Okay. Shuddham. Rishe Vidanti Munayo. The contemplative sage knows that impersonal form of the Lord. Munaya Vidanti, when they have controlled their minds and senses. Prashanta Atma Indriya Ashaya. That form disappears when assailed by false logic. So only by Bhakti one can understand Lord. 42nd shloka is going to speak about his control. Adyo Vatara Purusha Parasya. Adyo Avatara Purusha Parasya. Kala Swabhava Sadasan Manascha. Dravyam Vikaro Guna Indriyani. Virata Swarata Stashnu Charishnu Bhumna. So this is basically speaking about the further qualities of Mahavishnu. What is that? Adyo Avatara is an expansion of Narayana, Adyo Avatara. Then Purusho Parasya, Kala is a source of time. Swabhava is a source of Swabhava. He is a cause and effect. All these are related to the Supreme Lord. So this is what is being spoken here about. In the 42nd verse speaks about the zone of control. Qualities, then how to understand him. Then 42nd verse speaks about his zone of control. What is zone of control? This material world. Yes.
Karanarnavachai Vishnu is the first incarnation of the Supreme Lord, and he is the master of eternal time, space, cause and effects, mind, the elements, the material ego, the modes of nature, the senses, the universal form of the Lord, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and the sum total of all living beings, both moving and non-moving. First one, that the creation is not permanent has been discussed many times herein before. The material creation is but a temporary exhibition of the material energy of the Almighty Lord. This material manifestation is necessary to give a chance to the conditioned souls who are unwilling to associate with the Lord in the relationship of loving transcendental service. Such unwilling conditioned souls are not allowed to enter into the liberated life of spiritual existence because at heart they are not willing to serve. Instead, they want to enjoy themselves as imitation gods. The living entities are constitutionally eternal servants of the Lord, but some of them, because of misusing their independence, do not wish to serve. Therefore, they are allowed to enjoy the material nature, which is called Maya or illusion. It is called illusion because the living beings under the clutches of Maya are not factually enjoyers, although they think they are being illusioned by Maya. Such illusion living entities are given a chance at intervals to rectify their perverted mentality of becoming false masters of the material nature, and they are imparted lessons from the Vedas about their eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord Krishna. Vedeshti Sarvai Rahamaya Vedya. So the temporary creation of the material manifestation.
Mataji can read from here. The yellow by the potent.
By the potent activities of Karanadakshay Vishnu, the complete ingredients of creation, namely time, space, cause, results, mind, the gross and subtle elements and their transcendental and their interactional modes of nature, goodness, passion and ignorance, and then the senses and their reservoir source, the gigantic universal form, the second incarnation, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, and all living beings, both moving and standing, which come out of the second incarnation, all become manifested.
So nothing is independent of the control of the Supreme Being. First incarnation in the material creation, that is Karanadakshay Vishnu. So Brahma Samhita, Prabhupada is quoting the same verse, 43, 45 is being quoted, 42 is being quoted, Yasya Nishvashita Kala Matavalambya Jivanti Loma Vilaja Jagadandanata Vishnur Mahasaya Yasya Kala Vishesho La Vishesha Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. This Karanadakshay Vishnu is also expansion of Lord himself. So 43, 44, 45, this verse is going to speak about, don't misunderstand, Sarvam Paurusha Evedam. So that means here it's being Sarvam Paurusha Deveham comes here. So one should understand everything of this world is perverted by Supreme Lord, but none of these are Swarupa of the Lord. So one should, Mayavadis basically misinterpret these shlokas. Aham bhavo yadne ime prajesha dakshadayo ye bhavadadayascha sarvalokopala kagalokapala lalokapala stalo talalokapata palaha gandharva vidya daracharanesha ye yaksha raksho raganaganataha ye varishinam rishapitranam Daityendra Siddheshwara Danavendra Anye च ये प्रेत पिशाच भूत कुष्माण्डयोदो मृगपक्ष आदिश यत्किंच लोके भगवन् महस्वाद् ओजो सहस्वाद् बलवत् क्षमावत् श्रीरी विभूति आत्मवद् अभूतारणं तत्त्वं परं रूप अस्वरूपम्. Yes, next devotee.
Translation. I myself, Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Vishnu, great generators of living beings like Daksha Prajapati, yourself Narada and Kumaras, heavenly demigods like Indra and Chandra, the leaders of the Burloka planets, the leaders of the earthly planets, the leaders of the lower planets, the leaders of the Charanloka planets, the leaders of the Yaksha, Rakshas, and just the great sages, the great demons, the great atheists, and the great specimen, as well as dead bodies, evil spirits, satans, nans, pushpandas, great
Aquatics, great beasts,
and great birds, etc. Each, in other words, anything and everything which is exceptionally possessed of power, opulence, mental and perceptual dexterity, strength, forgiveness, beauty, modesty, opulence, and breeding, whether in form or formless, may appear to be the specific truth and the form of the Lord, but actually they are not so. They are only a fragment of the transcendental potency of the Lord. Purport. Those in the list given
This
above,
verse
beginning
exactly like that verse of Bhagavad Gita where Lord says, Yadyad vipito imat sattvam evam arjavam. Basically, whatever exceptional thing you see in this world, it is simply Teja Amsa. So, yes, you can read from here.
Purport.
Please.
Those in the list given above, beginning from the name Brahmaji, the first living creature within the universe, down to Lord Shiva, Lord Vishnu, Narad, and the other powerful demigods, men, supermen, sages, rishis, and other lower creatures of extraordinary strength and opulence, including the dead bodies, Satans, evil spirits, gnans, aquatics, birds, and beasts, may appear to be the Supreme Lord, but factually none of them is the Supreme Lord. Every one of them possesses only a fragment of the great potencies of the Supreme Lord.
Yes,
The
Madhavi,
less
that's it.
intelligent
That's it.
men.
Yes. This much. So basically, this is the essence of this verse, that don't misunderstand all these people to be God, but this is nothing but the expansion or these are the fragment of the Lord. So what Lord advises in Bhagavad Gita, you can read from here. If you see the screen, now this one can be read. Okay, when the Lord advised Bhagavad Gita to worship him alone, it is understood that worshipping Lord Krishna includes worshipping all who are mentioned above, because he, Lord Krishna, includes everyone. So this is the essence of this world. Factually, the Lord is not formless, nor does he belong to any of the multi-forms experienced within the universe. One should try to know the truth about the Lord by following the instructions of Brahmaji. So 43, 44, 45 speaks about the 84 lakh specie, but they are just an expansion of the Supreme Lord. But the Lord is completely aloof. Next shloka. Pradhanyato yandrisha amananti Leelavatara Purushasya Bhumna Apiyatam Karanakashaya Sosham Anukramishe Taimam Supesham. The next devotee.
O Narada, now I shall state, one after another, the transcendental incarnations of the Lord, known as the Leela Avtaras. Hearing of their activities counteracts all foul matter accumulated in the year. These pastimes are pleasing to hear and are to be relished. Therefore, they are in my heart.
Yeah, this is a very, very important shloka. This is connection of 42nd, 46th verse speaks about the next chapter which is going to begin. So here the Leela Avtaras of the Lord is going to start. Yes. You can read this, Prabhuji. Highlight.
And the cause of such dissatisfaction in the incompatibility of the message with the innermost stratum of the living soul. This transcendental literature is especially prepared by Srila Vyasadeva to give the utmost satisfaction to the people in general by narration of the activities of the Lord, as instructed by Sri Narad Muni to Srila Vyasadeva.
Yeah, basically all of us want to hear different messages. But what kind of message should hear? Prabhupada is telling people here radio FM, this, that, YouTube nowadays, Spotify, so many things are there. But one should not be concerned with the material mundane activities, but one should take message. Yeah, I can read this is the last shloka. You can read the purport, Puji. Such activities of the Lord are principally of two varieties. Read the complete purport. We'll end with this.
Such activities of the Lord are principally of two varieties. One concerns the mundane manifestation of the material creative force, and the other deals with his pastimes in the form of different incarnations. In terms of the time and place, there are innumerable incarnations of the Lord, like the waves of the river flowing constantly in and out. Less intelligent persons take more interest in the creative forces of the Lord in the material world, and being disconnected from their relationship with the Lord, they put forward many theories of creation in the name of scientific research. The devotees of the Lord, however, know well how the creative forces work concurrently by the action and reaction of the material energy of the Lord. Therefore, they take more interest in the transcendental activities of the Lord as he incarnates himself on the surface of the material world. Srimad Bhagavatam is the history of such activities of the Lord. And people who take interest in hearing Srimad Bhagavatam clear their hearts of accumulated mundane filth. There are 1,001 trash literatures on the market, but one who has taken interest in the Srimad Bhagavatam loses all interest in such filthy literatures. Sri Brahmaji is thus attempting to narrate the principal incarnations of the Lord so that they may be drunk by Narada as transcendental nectar.
Yes. So the next chapter will be scheduled incarnations with specific functions, because here the shloka is Pradhanyato yan rasha amananti leelavatara purushasya bhumna apiyatam karna kashaya shoshanam nukramishe ta imam shupesham. So the questions, 6 questions Narad Muni is being asked. Narad Muni has to Brahmaji. So answer is Lord Hari is the cause of everything, and he is taking Purusha avataras. So Narad Muni is eager to hear now the Leela avatar of the Lord. So 7th chapter will continue with the Leela avataras. So basically the second canto and third canto of Bhagavatam, for those who are living in this material world, how they can see the Lord, it speaks about that. Basically, being in this material world, you can see all these things, all 5 elements, Karnendriya, Gyanendriya, Tanmatra, Man, Buddhi, Ahankar, Mahatattva, Pradhan. Whatever you are seeing around, wherever you're sitting, whatever you're wearing, whatever you are eating, everything is coming from the Lord. That is the meaning of Purushutta. And everything has to be engaged in His service. So I'll just conclude with one pastime of Prabhupada. Prabhupada was going once with his disciples in the morning walk. And he comes somewhere in San Francisco, the west coast of America. And then he comes across the ocean views, which I know those of you who have gone to beaches, especially Jagannath Puri kind of views, is so loud. So Prabhupada starts asking to his disciples, what is that sound? And disciples start replying that it is just an ocean wave, Prabhupada. The wave is coming and just touching the boundary or the beach. And Dawali was like, tap, tap. He was going, tap, going, tap, going. Prabhupada replied, no, that is not the ocean wave sound. They said that is the sound of heartbeat of the gopis in separation of Krishna. So because Prabhupada has Acharya, who has gone through his Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyam Adhikari, Uttam Adhikari, he is able to see Krishna in everything and everything in Krishna. So this is what second canto and third canto study will help us to understand. The whole Purushukta, the whole sacrifices is meant to be done for Lord Vishnu, because everything is coming from him. All the ingredients are coming from him. And therefore, before understanding the sweetness, which is the 10th canto of Bhagavatam, the greatness of the Lord is mentioned in the first 4 cantos. Therefore, Purujan was written the name of his commentary as Unveiling the Lotus Feet. So it's very important for us to understand the greatness of the Lord in this material world. We should be able to see his hand everywhere. Then by that will inspire us to really practice bhakti with determination, by which we can rise from Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti to Raganuga Bhakti, Bhava Bhakti, and Prema Bhakti. Therefore, these purports may seem very, very technical, but if read nicely, this can really help us to appreciate the greatness and then gradually the sweetness. So I'll conclude with this. I think there is some announcement for Anush Prabhu to be made. We can make the announcement.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much for the class. Tomorrow we have a closed book exam, and I'd heard that like few devotees are unable to write. So as mentioned earlier, it is compulsory to fill this form. And Prabhuji, because like there were many devotees, I was thinking of rescheduling like for those devotees on this 26th January, so that we don't miss any class and it can be completed. And if devotees are not writing, then they will write at the end of unit 12, right? So you are muted.
The test.
Yes, Prabhuji.
When you exam? Tomorrow we have close book exam?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So what devotees are telling? They are okay with this?
Some devotees have like something. I have got from 5 devotees.
Okay. So what you are feeling now?
So we can keep on both tomorrow and on 26th.
We can only have one date. If you make this trend now, then therefore I am now. Initially, you got the you started now. Second canto is ending. I am not going to allow anyone to attend this without their videos off. With their videos off, I'm very sure. Even if 2-3 are there, I will take the whole. I'll make allowed the teachers, but will not tolerate the. All glories to all of you. You are very busy. You have many things to do, but we cannot compromise our standards for. You are all welcome. There is IBM. There is GEV. There are many more MIH, VIH. You can go anywhere and do it. But if you want to do it in BA, please stick to the standards. Then only the attendance will be there. Out of 8 sessions, minimum 75 minutes, 6 sessions with videos on. If it's others are there, then we can't afford with, because it's Saturday, Sunday. We have chosen 2 to 4 and 2:30 to 4:30. And when you are taking out time, when speakers are taking out time, so as students, we should take out time. And how much it is? Only to almost 1 year is going to end, and 2 more years. That's it. After that, Bhakti will be done. So we will not entertain two dates. We can take the toll if it's announced tomorrow. We do it tomorrow. If you are feeling that it has to be done the next week, but only one day should be fixed. And hereafter, please stick to the dates, the shloka test dates and the close book dates and OBA dates. As soon as the unit ends, the first weekend Saturday will be okay. Saturday unit time, Sunday will be the test and the OBA submission. And I know this is a congregation batch, therefore we're giving enough time for it, because time will always be less for us to write the submissions and assignments. But if you can just be determined to do that, it will be done. Krishna will allow us. We can prioritize the BV exams. So how many of your devotees are unable to give test tomorrow? Can raise hands. Madan Mohan Prabhu, Anuj Prabhu. Okay, and the host itself want them. Subhalakshmi Mataji. Okay. Others are all okay to give test? You are going next weekend. This tomorrow, how many of you are ready to do the test?
Yeah, next weekend.
The Suryakant is ready. Okay, one thing we can do now. From this onwards, I'm giving this one thing that we will postpone this test to next Sunday. If you're okay, postpone it. From every next unit, I will give one date. The date is very simple. Unit ends here, 7th chapter is going to end, 8th chapter ends. The next Sunday, Saturday will have test. Next unit starting, and Sunday should be the close book. And subsequent Monday, we can submit the open book. Before the next unit starts, the first weekend should be CBA submission, OB submission. This is a norm, we make it, whatever may happen. Sorry, the audience has to tell. Everybody is okay with it. The students, participants.
Yeah, Prabhu, we are okay with the strategy or plan that you have shared. We will
Anush Prabhu,
complete the event and then follow the.
yeah, basically that is there in the booklet, your BV Bhaktivedanta booklet. First unit ends, then as the second unit starts, we are done with the test. Channaran Pro, you are right, wrong. Okay, then we'll keep it simple. And those who are unable to do that, we will not change the dates. We will directly tell them this is the last second canto. We will try to adjust a little bit, but then third canto onwards, we will fix this now.
Prabhuji, postponing is problem for me because we have got yatra next week, arranged before 3 months, which is arranged before 3 months. It's difficult
Prabhuji?
for me. We have problem to write the exam the next week because we are going for yatra for a society along with the temple devotees, which is planned about 3 months before.
Okay, so when you are writing exam tomorrow?
Tomorrow, yes, it is good for me. Tomorrow it is okay.
But you raised hand now, you're not able to write tomorrow?
No, I raise hand for tomorrow. I can write.
Tomorrow we'll write.
When you are going for yatra?
26, 27, probably. Next Saturday, Sunday.
27,
28, sorry, 27, 28.
Okay. This week I'll allow you. Both of you who are going for yatra, you can write for tomorrow. But all others, majority, all of you can have test. But if you write tomorrow, then what is the timing you want to write?
Anytime we are okay, Prabhu. Our schedule time or even.
So earlier I had scheduled during the class timing only.
But most others are okay with writing exam tomorrow or next week?
We are
Next
okay.
week.
Okay for tomorrow.
Next week. Okay then, Madan Mohan Prabhu,
Yes.
you can write your test for this unit, what this is discussing. Tomorrow 11 to 1 you can write.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you.
We'll have class tomorrow and next Saturday also. And next weekend, Sunday, we'll have the exam.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. If any other devotee is there, like who wants to write tomorrow itself, you can inform me. Accordingly, I'll inform BVRV because next Sunday would be the last.
And there is only one date. It's like first and last. There's one date fixed. This is only one unit. Whole month. Now you've completed 2 cantos now. You've become senior Bhakti students. So we are increasing the criteria of your participation. Okay? Hare Krishna. Those who want to write, they can write tomorrow. And those who want to write next week. But 3rd canto onwards, individually you can mail me or WhatsApp me, whatever it is. You have any issues. But 3rd canto, at least inform that you're not able to write or you are able to write. We can understand that. Material world you are staying, there will be uncertainties. It's not that we are very strong. Only thing I'm firm on, attending sessions with videos on. You know this 2 to 4 is there. You have to attend it. There is some emergency, you can always send a mail to Anush Prabhu or send WhatsApp to him or me so that we understand it. Otherwise, we can't. Emergencies we can understand, but taking it for granted, coming, joining, then logging it off, no, that will not happen. Thank you once again. I've been engaged in all of your service. So as a part of service, I'm trying to facilitate all of you. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Our Bhaktivedanta ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Anush
Thank you,
Prabhu.
Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Anush Prabhu. So finally, we are giving it next week.